Alright, so this is our first video for how to find bunkai. We're looking for different applications to the movements in our kata. Since this is the first video, I'm going to show you this list of different attacks. You can Google some different lists that people have put together or try to come up with one of your own, but you're already able to put the movements of your kata against different attacks. Find hands close to your body. Could be an arm pin, right? Pulling to control your opponent. Any part of your body that's close to you. Look at any technique and just stop at different points in time and look at what specifically that portion of the technique may be pointing towards. After you've found an application for any particular movement in a kata, go in your other kata that you know and look for movements that are similar to that and what movements come immediately before and immediately after that particular movement and see how that might change any specific application that you've come up with. The idea is to look at one body part at a time. For whatever movement you're using, you can look at just your fist and what that might be doing based on the attack and the location of the opponent, and then look at what the wrist might be doing, and then how the forearm may be used, and then how the elbow may be used, and then maybe the upper arm and even the shoulder, and maybe even using the body. Of course, you can do the same thing using the lower body for kicks, going from the foot up. Go through your kata and find any particular movements and then try to find how other arts use that movement. And the quicker way to go about this is to go on YouTube and look up things like Kempo or Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, whatever other arts, and look at their two-person drills or their applications, the techniques that they use, and stop and look at how each of those techniques might look like some of your techniques in your kata to give you ideas for different applications from there. Use each of your attacks either from directly in the front or something of that nature, or can be from you or your attacker being at an angle, or some attacks can be used from the side and some attacks would be from the rear. And this would be in the context of kata, where sometimes you're making turns for movements, sometimes turning all the way around, sometimes just at a 90 or 45 degree angle. So keep in mind the context of your kata and the positions that you're moving either forward or back at angles. Your stances, of course, have a primary usage of positioning and movement, but they also could have another implied usage, cat stance, where it's an easily implied knee or kick with the front foot. But other stances could also have other uses as well, just like a zinkutsudachi or other longer stances, especially as you're pulling away, or kicks as they're returning to the ground, could function easily as balance displacement or full throwing techniques. Take whatever your technique is with both hands and change the location on the opponent, whether you be on the outside completely, inside with one hand, or inside with the other, or completely on the outside with the other hand. You make a rule that you have to try to find an application where whatever your movement is uses at least one hand as a grip, or potentially two hands both gripping. And this can be fun to find some potential applications that combine more almost grappling techniques as you're standing. And tell myself that I'm only allowed to use this target, or maybe one or two. In any kata where you have a foot sweep or a knee lift or even a crossover step, anything where the foot comes off the ground is a great time to look in an application for not just a potential foot sweep, but any maybe crossover stomping kick or any type of kick in general, but the footwork that goes along with that as well, where some schools slide and some schools step and some schools may even jump in different scenarios, could lead to some great variations on applications by mixing up what type of footwork you use with any of those movements. Extra credit, every time your foot goes back onto the floor, step on their foot. Exaggerate all the movements of your kata and see if that changes any of your applications to those movements. And the other way is to look at different versions of your kata, exaggerate the potential differences in the specific techniques and see if that will make any difference for your applications. Either do your full kata and just switch where your hands would be opened or closed to give you a different idea of potential applications or different usages of certain movements, or to do the entire kata with every movement using only closed hands or only open hands. And this one is actually fun, I think, in how it relates to one of our earlier tips about looking for similarities between movements of different kata. Hopefully you can use all of these things to help get some other ideas on how different movements could be used in your kata. Thanks for watching, everyone.